Hey folks, here's another great one if I say so myself. We're going to go to a place that I talk about all the time, but I have never really shown you what goes on here. So let me show you a little bit of a NASA fantasy of what goes on Enceladus. I wish I'd found a better copy of this, but it doesn't matter because it's all bogus anyway. But when I first got to this site, I did an Enceladus video, and I had some little idiot write me and protest, telling me that I'm wrong, that Enceladus does not have water, that it only has ice, that it shoots up into the air, and blah, blah, blah. So I shut him down and wasn't too mean about it. Gave him what I knew and told him to go to the NASA site, take a look at what they're telling him or showing the world, and then get back to me and tell me what he thinks, right? Never heard from the guy again. Never heard another word from him because Enceladus is a water world. It pulses in response to there's a giant red spot. It's actually it's at the top of Saturn, and at the bottom of Saturn they have, well, of course, the north and the south poles. When those poles pulse, when the great red spot atop the planet pulses, then Enceladus shoots these jets of water into the sky. It's been going on for millions of years, and beyond the sky, into the solar system, really, and this water is captured by the gravity of Saturn, and that's what makes the rings of Saturn. It can't be any other way. Those rings are constantly replenished by ice, and the ice comes from the water of Enceladus. So let me show you here where it's made. There's a factory there. At the very top of Enceladus, right before the pulse hits, and that light erupts with water. Enceladus is lit from within somehow, or lit on the surface. And when the water shoots into the air, it's lit. That's how we're able to see it. It's actually being lit up by the Enceladans. It's a spectacular water show, a spectacular light show, and we miss it every single day sitting here debating with fat directors and others. Something, I'll say this about Doug Adams fans. I had nothing but respect for Doug Adams. I know he passed away. He was a nice guy, good guy. Wrote some pretty good stuff here, but I've never met a true Doug Adams fan that didn't whistle or squeak while they walked. They're always some weird kind of person that just grabs these things and holds it to their heart and believes it to be true. And they wish for a universe more like a Doug Adams novel. And those are the dangerous people you have to watch out for. Some of them even become somewhat well off working for movie studios, usually fat people. You know what it is? I have nothing against fat people. Let's get that clear. I don't like well-fed people. You know what I mean? Those well-fed, satisfied, greasy types that are always touching you. You hate those characters. And like I say, I ran into one of these characters yesterday on this site, and if he was really doing well in his career, he wouldn't be here. I'm here because I choose to be here. You know why? Because I did spectacularly well in my career. I haven't had to work in a decade, folks. I haven't had to do one stick of work unless I've wanted to. So what does that tell you about me and that fat Doug Adams character? I've already done what I was going to do in the world. Now I'm trying to do something for the world. At least I'm trying to do something for the rest of you out there. I'm not just sitting around eating pizza and pretending to be some kind of a executive mogul. That's another thing. You gotta hate these characters with mogul dreams. These guys that want to get out there and become the top of a studio or whatever and sit on their fat, greasy butts giving out orders and screwing the young girls that come through. These guys are the most disgusting people on the planet. Believe me. I don't think there's any movie director out there that hasn't had that mogul dream of getting to the top of the studio. Hey, look what happened to Francis Ford Coppola. Nothing but respect for him. Great guy. I compare him to this guy because this fat bastard, excuse my language, tries to look like Francis Ford Coppola. But Coppola himself is the real thing. True genius, great director. And I watched him be insulted by Robert Rodriguez recently. Robert Rodriguez was mentioning all of Coppola's great movies to his face. He says, oh yeah, you directed some great movies in your time. Godfather 1, Godfather 2. Then he skips over Godfather 3 and moves on to other movies, Apocalypse Now. And I'm telling you, what an insult. What, Godfather 3 is not a great movie? It's better than anything Robert Rodriguez could ever hope to make in his life. And he has the gall to sit in front of this man and tell him it's not a great movie. That's what kind of arrogant people live on this planet. Those are the thumbs down people, that can't do what you do, haven't the slightest inkling of how you do what you do, don't understand it, and have the gall to say something. That's how you know a scared human being. They will try to say something funny and then move away real quickly because they don't understand it. So they have to say something flip or crazy or whatever the heck to try to diffuse the situation. Anyway, enough about that fat boy. Here we are on Enceladus. Look around, you see its buildings, it's not pixels, it's none of the things these idiots out there tell you. All these pixel people try to tell you. They don't know what they're talking about because they don't take the time. You know what these idiots do? They watch one video and then want to pontificate afterwards about that one video. I've made almost 800 videos. Watch 5 videos. Watch 6. Then open your mouth and tell me what you see. You know, you may not like that first one, but I guarantee you watch 3 or 4, you're going to get what I'm trying to show you. You're not going to get it in the first video. So anybody stupid enough like that director to open his mouth after one video, it just shows you what kind of guy he is, and it shows you why he works at Lionsgate and not any of the big companies. It just cracks me up. Anyway, Enceladus, there's buildings here. You see them in perfect rows, up and down here. There's no doubting it. You see the black windows. These are buildings. You see the third one down is lit on the top. These are buildings on the planet Enceladus, which is a moon, which circles Saturn with all the greatest, I'll say the greatest proof of life, the greatest moons ever are all the moons of Saturn, all the moons of Jupiter, all the moons of Neptune. Well, not many, but there are the moons out here are the secrets, and that's what they don't want you to see. The secret of our existence is that it's easy, folks. Living is nothing. Living is easy. It happens everywhere. We're not some precious loners in the solar system. We're nothing, folks. We're one of the billions, one of the trillions. We're nothing. You know, the Earth is important. Because if Earth is wiped out and it gets knocked out of kilter, of course it's going to affect every planet out there. But if all life on Earth ended tomorrow, it wouldn't mean anything to the rest of the people out there. They'd probably mourn us somewhat. But I don't think they understand us enough to mourn us the way that we would like to be mourned. We would like people to go out there and write great tributes to us. But no, it'll be just like we write about the dinosaurs or anything else. They were here for a while and now they're gone. And probably good riddance. Especially if it takes care of fat directors out there. Anyway, you know, I always show you Tsiolkovsky. I got to talk because this thing is long. Tsiolkovsky on the moon. You know, Tsiolkovsky, Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, he was the father of modern, any astronomics. He sat in his little village without any academics or smart people or whatever, literary people around him. He did this in a small village. He plotted exactly what it will take to get off this planet. He based all of his calculations and all of his speculation on what he read in Jules Verne novels. Now, if that's not a genius, then you name me a genius. That's the kind of science I respect. A person like that. See, in science, for me to respect you, you got to do something big. I don't care if you invented a bunion medicine or something like that. Big deal. I want to see you do something great because you're supposed to have the minds to do great things, not work for pharmaceutical companies and sit around at NASA doing nothing for the rest of your lives, you know? I see these old guys from NASA sitting around, and what can they say that they accomplished? Most of them. There was a generation that got people out there on the moon, which, you know something, now that I really sit back and think about the moon and how we got to the moon and what is really on the moon, I am inclined to believe that we never went there at all. I know it sounds crazy, but I am really beginning to lean towards that huge hangar at NASA, that building that is now off limits to everyone. I believe it was all conducted in there. How hard would it be, after a couple of days of sensory deprivation, to fool people into believing anything? How would they know, even the astronauts themselves? Who's to say they ever left this planet? Who's to say they ever climbed aboard that rocket? And who's to say, okay, people climbed on board that rocket, who's to say it wasn't them and that thing didn't splash down in the ocean somewhere right after takeoff and there was something else in the sky that the amateurs on Earth picked up on, and the spies in Russia and all these other places? Russia knows as much about the moon as America knows. I say the same for Japan, China, any place else out there. So they're not really going to send any people up there. China could have done that by now. Japan could have sent people to the moon by now. Russia could have done it by now. But isn't it curious? No one has done it. America did it, dusted themselves off and said, wow. And then other people have gone. But who's to say that any of these people ever truly left the Earth? Who's to say they weren't just walking around inside of a huge couple of miles of hangar On drugs after sensory deprivation. Who's to know? Who's to say? No one can tell us. Who's to say they weren't on those ships and it was an exact simulation prepared for them? The whole landing sequence, everything, all made up. Very easy to do. You know, there are so many people out there who don't believe we went to the moon at all. Very intelligent people. It's time to stop thinking that everything that NASA has told us is true. It's time to stop thinking that. What did this? I got another dumb comment from the same guy a few days ago. Oh, he says he questions the validity of my using NASA's information to dispute NASA. Well, how else is it done? Have you never debated anybody? Have you never talked on the phone to a liar and used their own words against them? I was a bill collector for 20 years, folks. I know how to use a person's words against them. I know how to sit back and listen and trip you up on all the lies you've just told me or trying to tell me or whatever truth you're trying to put over on me, whatever wool you're trying to pull over my eyes. I can usually figure it out just by sitting down and listening to you for a while. It's not a big deal. So for me to use NASA's information against them, I can't think of any other way. What am I supposed to do? Go out there and fly through space and gather my own information? Well, that's what I'm doing. But I'm using NASA to do that. And if you look here clearly, you'll see that this is a planet in our solar system. It's a moon, and it's inhabited. There are buildings everywhere. We are so far behind these people. I say to people that turn immigrants away from their shores that you're wrong. You need those immigrants. You need to build your country up just like America did with all the immigrants that came 100 years ago to this country, 150 years ago. That's what built America. You don't turn people away from your shores because you don't know what to do. You put them to work. That's what they're coming there for. You know, we have people on Earth that want to fly off into space and escape this planet, and something happens here, they're going to escape. They're going to put all their ducks in a boat and head out into space. Well, guess what? You're going to end up just like those people now that are in those boats trying to, they're refugees from Africa and different places, trying to, and I think also Cambodia, places like that, trying to land on different shores and start their new lives, and they're being turned away. They're not even being allowed to land. What they're doing is sending out boats of supplies, throwing them at the people, and telling them to keep going. Well, that's going to be our fate in space if we don't straighten out and become a little better at being people and being better at taking care of each other and, squash some of the smartasses out there, excuse my language, and keep them down. I'll tell you what about this place. Come on, say whatever you want to say. Give me your one-liners. But let me tell you something. This site is where the idiots go to die. So come on with your smart mouths. I don't care where you're from. I don't care if you're a director. I don't care if you're a stable boy. Let me hear your smart mouth, because I'm right about this. And I will start leaving some of you idiots up there. As long as you don't have a beard in your picture, I'll probably leave your face up there. I'm thinking of taking a trip to Hollywood this summer, a couple of weeks, and going to Lionsgate Studio and shaving this fat boy that works there. So could be interesting. I might have to actually put my money where my mouth is, where this bearded stuff comes in. I'm going to actually shave a fat bearded boy and film it for you and present it here, and you'll see it. And I'm going to make sure Lionsgate Films, if they have any decent logos, right in the air over his head. Anyway, Enceladus, this is probably the longest video I ever made, so good night.